Alrighty, folks, if you are creating content, especially in the finance or economic area, you will undoubtedly be called a Trump lover or a Trump hater. You are really good when you can get called the same thing in the same video by two different idiots. Yes, folks, I think people who assume I'm one or the other simply do not understand. I believe the world, generally speaking, lives in the middle, but the loud and noisy extremes just confuses everybody. Money is not generally made at the extremes. It's made in the middle. But let's see what folks had to say this week. How you doing, Mark?
Good. That was a great lead-in for this first comment. I mean, that was perfect. So, we do have this. Sebastian and Drew says, "You sound like you believe in Trump's economic agenda. I thought you were intelligent."
Again, just saying the word Trump, President Trump, sets half the world on fire and frankly makes the other half smile. I don't entertain those questions. I'm neither. But just like, a year ago, Biden was our president. Trump is our president today. Trump has an agenda. Trump sets the rules of the road, the big, beautiful bill, tariffs, all of these things. And my job is to operate in that cycle. And it's not a good or bad thing. It's the freaking rules of the road. So you can either sit down and scream at the moon like all these crazy memes, or you can get off your ass and try to figure out how to use the rules of the road for the next 3.5 years to make some money. So I don't even entertain answering those questions because I think they're stupid. And it's very irritating that for some reason in the last 12 years we have lost all rational thought and we just allow one name to set us on fire. Either way, love him or hate him, it's just so bipolar. It's unhealthy, I think, both ways. He is not the Messiah and he's not Hitler. I mean, come on. Just stop it. Whether you like him or hate him, he is neither of those things. He has an agenda. He has a belief. Whether it's right or wrong will only be known in the future. But, he's committed to do some things. And my job is to try to figure out how to operate in said cycle. So that's what I do. But I hate questions like that. Just
Yeah,
irritating.
so you mentioned Trump, and I think this one is the perfect way, like you're talking about how maybe you should be looking at things. So it says you have to take what Trump says with a grain of salt, but if it comes out of Scott Besant's mouth, you can take it to the bank. He seems pretty even keeled and has become one of Trump's best picks for his term.
Yeah, I think Scott Bessent is by far the steady hand on the wheel. I think we're very lucky to have him over the Treasury. I'm glad he's staying at the Treasury. He doesn't want the Fed job. He's staying at Treasury. That's where we need him. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, come on. This is President Trump's second term. And, he's been in the political headlines now for, 10 years or so, going back to running the first time. If you haven't figured out how he operates, you're not paying attention. The guy's a one-trick pony. He comes out, he makes all kinds of crazy, brash, idiotic, statements to kind of anchor the world one way. And then he comes, somewhere more rational. And, the second thing is he's committed, right? Again, I'm not going to argue, and we'll only know in happenstance about these tariffs. But, the fact that he started talking about tariffs in 1987 or 88, whenever he was on that late night TV, you can go find it, look it up. The guy believes this. And, let's see. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I find it so odd that Trump opens his mouth and people get upset. I'm like, you haven't figured it out by now? I mean, the game hasn't changed. He's the same guy he was 8 years ago. And, he's a New York real estate negotiator. And this is just what he does. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
So you also kind of touched on tariffs and what Trump, like you said, Trump's been talking about it for years, and there's these old videos of him talking about it. But this individual says, "What if inflation kicks in from tariffs and we get rate hikes?"
So those are really two different things. So this is going to split hairs and piss off half the world. But tariffs, or I'm sorry, inflation. Inflation is a rate of change measurement. Tariffs are a step effect, generally speaking. And Scott Besson has said this, right? Basically, tariffs just take it from $8 to $9. It's not a rate of change thing. It's just like, whoop, it's a tax. It's a one-time thing. That's why you hear sometimes the Fed talk about can we look through inflation? Because it's not in the general economic understanding, inflation. You could be seen as a tax. It's certainly seen as a cost, but it's not the definition of inflation. So then the second part of the question, raise rates. Always. I mean, Jamie Dimon 6 weeks ago said there was a 40% chance that rates would go up. Now we need to step back and realize that at least the Fed rate is going lower. The jobs market we got last week was so terrible that rates are going down. But I think it's an open question. Do mortgage rates follow? Because again, I think a lot of people generally believe the Fed cuts rate, mortgage rates go down. That's not always true. I mean, just go back to last September, right? The Fed was on a cutting cycle. The Fed cut 100 and mortgage rates went up 100. So I think it's pretty much a lock the Fed cuts rates, but it is not a lock that mortgage rates go down. I think it's most likely to go down, but it's not a lock.
This one you reposted on X, and it has a date of August 7th. So today is August 8th, but it says Powell needs to raise rates, not lower them. Tariffs haven't been felt yet in the economy. They start August 7th.
Yeah. Anybody who's making declarative statements like that don't understand how the economy works. Yes, tariffs went into effect August 7th, but that's for shipment. I mean, it's just such a uneducated, declaration of certainty. Just because that it's now in effect, it doesn't mean it can't get delayed. Doesn't mean shipments have already arrived. Doesn't mean this. Doesn't mean that. It's oh, by the way, I mean, if we haven't learned already that a lot of the tariffs could be absorbed by the supply chain. I think there's a lot of people that assume, just pick a number, 50% tariff means everything goes up 50%. That's not how it works. Some of it will be absorbed by the creator, some by the value add, some by the retailer, and And, the consumer will probably get some, but it won't get the full 50. So, and oh, by the way, again, if you want to talk economics, there's this thing called demand destruction. There's this thing called switching costs. And I think you're going to be shocked. I think the great tariff boogeyman, when we're sitting down a year from now, will be just that, a boogeyman that you turn on your flashlight and goes, whoops, where'd he go?
Yeah, exactly. So even this one on the tariff point, it says tariffs are going to kill the economy. Hell is coming.
Well, first off, we have tried to kill the economy several times. Think pandemic, think shutting the country down, think raising rates, think, this, think that. If you haven't learned by now that the American and frankly world economy is a very robust and complex thing that can deal with black swans and crazy shocks out of left field, you're not paying attention. I think there are so many people that just want the world to burn down, the economies to burn down, that they don't understand that, yes, tariffs were a shock. Yes, it will disrupt global trade. Yes, it will have some economic impact on the consumers. But when you step back and you just work through all of that, the economy will keep churning. It's not, tariffs are not going to kill the global economy. If shutting down the world economy didn't kill the economy, tariffs aren't going to kill the economy.
Yeah, I love how you keep things kind of in perspective. Like you don't sway one way or the other, like far left, far right, and whatnot. So, but I think that's what people need to hear, right? So for this person, Pride Rock commented, I think you're all off base with people just waiting on the sidelines. The average American can't afford houses at these prices, so investors aren't going to be quick to jump back in because a rate cut. And if baby boomers start downsizing and are passing away, we have a huge dip.
That's just somebody who's been enthralled with the doomers and crash bros and bought everything, stock, lock, and barrel. It's just not how the system works. Investors are looking for a return. More and more investors are writing disrespectful offers, finding motivated sellers, and creating great deals. I'm seeing it almost every day. So investors will step into the void, and investors will get amazing deals. The second thing we've learned is that first comment is just asinine. Have you not checked the stock market? All American consumers can't afford a home. That's just moronic. Yeah, maybe you can't afford a home, but lots of people can. We're still going to do 4 million transactions. You know, I just read a stat this morning, and I think this was from Beth Hommick, Fed president. We're running in a two-speed economy, the have and the have-nots, and there are a lot of haves, right? You know, if you're in the stock market, you're a tech worker, you're this, you're that, you're doing quite well. If you're in the, making less than 50K and all of that, you're struggling. I think a lot of people look at their situation and think everybody is like them. And that's just not the case. I mean, just look at your stock portfolio, look at your 401k, look at your house, look at all these. I mean, the other thing to realize is we are sitting on record amounts of home equity. The home equity, I got this report from St. Louis Fed. I think it's $36 trillion. That's 150% higher than 2006 before the crash. We see mortgage rates fall. You're going to see how many people tap into their homes for equity to do this or that. It's going to be wild. We run in a world of have and have-nots. If you are a have-not, meaning you do not own assets, life sucks. If you own assets, life are good. So here's the deal. If you want life to stop sucking, own assets. Do everything you can to create discretionary income to become seeds to buy assets, and just play the game. Stop raging against the machine and play the freaking game already.
Yeah, definitely. Like, affordability is a struggle right now for a lot of people. What people are still making deals. I just closed on another property, and people out there are doing the work. Sometimes, though, it's not just that individual that they have to overcome certain hurdles. For some people, like this comment right here, it would be, what would you do if your wife doesn't support your real estate plan or doesn't want you to want you to meet new people?
Well, there's two pieces of that. So first and foremost, your spouse, one of the most important decisions you ever make in life is who you marry, who you choose to be committed to. Choose wisely. That's all I got to say for that. Choose wisely. And if you happen to make that choice and then that individual doesn't support your dreams, vision, passions, you're at a minimum up for some very tough conversations, because you've got to get on the same page. You've chosen them, man or woman. And you've got to do that beforehand. And I've said this, I think I said this in my book, One Rental at a Time. If your partner is on board 99%, they're not on board. It's got to be 100, because this game will test you. And, you got to have those hard conversations and figure out why. Now, the second part of that question is just weird. Doesn't want me to meet new people. There is some insecurity or something going on there. Great things in life are for meeting new people, new friends, new family, new experiences. I have no idea where there's some underlying insecurity, or maybe there's a track record that we don't know about in this question. But I could not imagine another adult telling another adult you can't meet new people. That's so foreign to me. I mean, I'm not extremely social, but Olivia telling me I can't meet new people, that'd be a problem. Yeah, that's just odd.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it today on your recording with TY also, about how just this community school, one rent at a time, a lot of these people you're meeting, like you would consider them like friends, like, people you could hang out with and see yourself. So yeah, that's what's so wonderful about this community. And sometimes I like to find these comments your short reply on YouTube was hard conversation. But I knew there was more to it. So that's why, so even like this one from Dennis, he says, do you think it makes more sense to make a move on an investment property right now or move forward with a vending business? With the thought that I plan to do both in the next 9 to 12 months, do I focus on real estate right now during these times of a buyer's market and then work the vending later? What is your recommendation?
Yeah, so I actually, Dennis, he reached out to me because he's in our community, and I got more details. So I'll answer it both ways. So in the beginning, I was reading this as a guy who was sitting at a fork in the road. Like, do I do this or do I do that? And I believe how I answered is basically, if you're at the very beginning of this, go vending, right? Vending is going to be something you could start faster. You get a proof of concept. You kind of, the return on time is much more valuable. Because again, if you're going to start, if you're at the same point, you still have 6 months of investing in a buyer, getting a buy box. You still got to do all these other things. And I was like, go this direction. So then he saw my reply. He knows that I don't reply after reply, right? I don't get involved in conversation. So he reached out after and he said, no, what you don't know, Michael, is I've already been in the real estate game for 6 months. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, okay, keep going, right? You're already pot committed. So now it's time to see this through. So, I got more data from Dennis. So my answer changed. But again, I think it was worthwhile, right? If you're at a fork in the road, choose the one that feeds you faster. But if you're already committed, you're committed. So.
All right, that's why I like to bring these where people can get more information on the questions they ask and whatnot. But I think in one of your recent videos, it's kind of been a little stir maybe in our private chats in our communities between us.
Uh-oh.
They heard you mention that possibly this may be the last ORAT event for maybe until you hit 100K subscribers.
Yep.
Gaucho Dan also said maybe 1,000 school members. So, yeah, maybe we can dig into this a little bit more. Like, where's that feeling coming from?
So again, I'm always an open book. So if we go back to year number 1, it was a celebration, right? It was the 50,000 mark. It was a celebration. It truly felt like, half party, half family reunion. Then that was such a raging success. I was committed to year 2. Really fun, really exciting, and made significant improvements. Same great feeling. But I'm in the suck right now of year 3, and it's kind of feeling like it doesn't have that same, at least right now, it doesn't have that same spark, that same excitement. Because again, I lost money on year 1, right? If year 1 and year 2 are put together, I probably break even, maybe lose a little. So these things aren't money making. And they're a lot of work, and I have a really good life. And, this takes, I'm already into this 100 hours, probably more now. And I'm like, I've said this before, I reserve the right to change. Maybe I just got to get to the day and then I'll be excited again. And year 4 will be announced at the end of 3. But yeah, I got to tell you right now, it just doesn't have that same, thing. And that's weird because I've spent so much time. The agenda's better. I've got bigger speakers. I've got celebrating school members, showing love to millionaires. Like I'm dropping almost 20 grand on gifts for the millionaires. So, it's, I don't know. I guess I'm just in it right now. And I mean it. I mean, as of right now, gun to head, year 4 probably doesn't happen. Right. We postpone it until we 100, and it's really funny. I mean, 100,000 subs for me probably means 3 years, maybe 2.5 years. So it might be a while. So if you want to come and, celebrate, and you want to come and, make me feel better and show out, then, buy your tickets. Like if you want to make me feel better, buy your tickets early. Because, one of the things I'm looking at is I have 6 figures going out the door in the next 90 days, 85 days. And, if tickets don't sell, I mean, that could be a big problem. So again, if you want to show me some love and say, let's do year 4, buy your tickets early so I can get past this, all the money going out and, not coming back.
Well, I'll just be honest that I was to blame last year that I did wait to the last minute to buy my ticket, but I am recommending everyone this year to go out and buy it now, because if people don't know, Pace Morby, Jason Hartman are 2 of the key speakers, and I believe, like you've mentioned already, once they start promoting it to their communities,
Yeah.
I think these tickets are going to sell fast. So, like you said, you don't have room to make any more space, and so
Nope. You've
people
been there. There's
definitely,
no room.
yeah.
There's no
But
room.
hopefully, these type of comments will get you back into maybe wanting to keep doing it
Yeah.
yearly. So, Josh Burdick did post, and you reposted it also. It says this event attracts doers and action takers who want to help others attain success as well. I look forward to attending and hanging out with my old rat buddies.
Yeah. Josh bought tickets already. So thanks, Josh. Yeah. I mean, it really is a family reunion. And it is a lot of fun, just like I'm sure all family reunions are. And yeah, I really hope I get to that day, and by lunch on day one, I'm buzzing. Right? I still remember going home after day one, year one, and feeling like I was levitating on my bed. I was so excited. I was having so much fun. I'm not there currently. I'm not in that space right now. Oh, it's funny.
So yeah, I do want to remind everyone there's also school reimbursement opportunities that I'm still giving
Nice.
away, and I don't think I mentioned it on your channel yet, but I am looking at once I hit 1,000 subscribers, which is about 10 to 15 away. I'm
Oh,
going to be doing a giveaway of a VIP ticket to the ORAD event. So once I get there, I'll be giving that away.
wow. All right.
But I also want to just end on this one because I think this is why people are so attracted to your channel and just your personality and whatnot. But um, Chris Desboro says, "Keep up the f bombs, Zoob. Lets us know you're a normie."
Yeah, I do my best to not swear because we have a lot of parents that watch our channel with kids in the room, and I respect that. Right? You don't want to have f bombs and be a tyrant, but sometimes it's conversations with you, sometimes it's with the three amigos. There'll be something, and it just comes flying out of my mouth. It's like, whoops, couldn't stop that one. So it is a conscious effort, to not swear. And use different words, but sometimes it's just the right word. And I would suspect in an average week of my videos, I probably swear 3 times. That would be my guess. But sometimes it's just required. So I appreciate the permission, but I also don't want to make it, where every other word's an F bomb and you can't watch it with your kids, because building wealth should be a family experience. It should help kids as well. So, but yeah, let me just apologize in advance if your children hear me say the F bomb every once in a while. I apologize.
But like I think it's just like I said, it lets us know you're just a normie, a normal person, and it happens. And sometimes you get involved in the topic, and it just comes out. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think
sometimes.
that's what's great about this community. Like I said, hopefully these comments keep coming in. People go buy your tickets so we can have a year 4.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Again,
that's
yeah.
all
If
I got
you,
for this week.
yeah, you know what? I'll say this. So I think we've sold 34 tickets already, and it's August 8th when we're recording this. If we could sell at least 100 tickets by the end of August, I will feel better. Because that will make the $100,000 that go out the door in the next 85 days a little easier to do. Where if everybody's waiting until the end, it's just, like, oh my God, I'm staring at a $75,000 loss. That's not fun. I guarantee you I won't do a year 4 if I lose 75 grand. I guarantee you that's not happening. I'm not that much of an idiot. So yeah, if you want to do me a favor, let's sell 100 tickets by the end of August. That will remove the pressure. Yeah, let's do that. That would
All
help.
right, let's get it done, community.
All right, buddy. Where can people find you, and where can we help you get to 1,000, man? It's coming.
Financial firefighter, YouTube, but that's the main place. But yeah, I'm on Instagram, X, Facebook, but YouTube. Please subscribe. Get me to 1,000. Yeah, it's fun though.
There you go. I appreciate you, man. Keep it up. You're doing good work.
All right, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.